Okay, guys, good evening. It is about 6 p.m. on Sunday, October 14th, 2018, 6 p.m. New York time. And just want to make a quick video. This is actually a little bit in hindsight, a little bit of what went on last week and a couple of trades that I took, and just kind of show you a little bit in terms of either some price action or Elliott wave trading. Combined maybe with some fundamentals, and that's kind of my theme. So look at we're gonna look at 4 trades here. I already have them drawn up on my chart here. So this is the Canadian yen, and the thing I wanted to do here is go to my Forex calendar from last week, and I should have done that. Okay. And let's just take the filter, put the filter on here. Okay. So this was last week, and you can see there wasn't really a lot on the calendar here. Just scanning through here, the British pound, everything is about Brexit. And this coming week, just so in case you guys don't know, tomorrow and Wednesday especially are going to be very important days for the British pound, as there's kind of coming to a head here with the Brexit negotiators having to come to some kind of agreement to move forward here. And so I'd be very cautious trading the pound this week. Could be a wild ride. And even though I trade, Elliott wave patterns and things, I may just sit and take it all in. Unless you're going to be sitting in front of the computer all day watching the news wires, I'd be very cautious trading the British pound this coming week. So that's just an aside. So anyway, so not a lot on the calendar. So let's go back to the charts here. So here's the Canadian yen. This is the 4-hour chart. Let's go to the 1 hour. Actually, let's zoom out a little bit first. So here we are on the weekly chart. Now, to me, on the weekly chart, now this is obviously a very, very long range weekly. I don't trade off this. A lot of times I don't even look at it unless even the daily is not really very clear. But if you look at this right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe we can see it on the daily if we just zoom out a little bit here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is a really nice 5-wave pattern down here on the daily. And then this I'm taking as a correction, has all the signs of a correction, an ABC pattern, and then we started breaking to the downside once again. And let's just throw a Fibonacci on there, even though I'm not a big fib person, but this one's actually really nice, right to the 78.6 fib. So here we are back on the daily, and we'll zoom back in a little bit here. And you can see I missed the first part of this, just not a pair I watch all the time. But I saw this, and I knew this was the time to get back in. So this was clearly a correction after this big move down. And here's where I got in and got out right here. And you can see kind of corrected, went back, retested this low. And I think it'll probably chop around. But I do think this is going to keep going, and I will be looking for shorts to get back into this. Because, again, if you look at this, assuming that this was an ABC pattern, this is the 5-wave down, then the ABC up, then this is going to keep going, in my opinion. So I will be looking for shorts on the Canadian yen. Now, you could say that, maybe we're going to go and hit this trend line and bounce, but my feeling is still that this will continue to the downside, and the weekly suggests that potentially too. And this whole thing could be in, an ABC pattern on the weekly chart. So this could be an A, B, we go down for C, come down here, maybe retag these lows. But either way, I think we go down for a while. So if this high right here was an A, 1145 pips, and 1145 off this one, it takes us to down to here. So it's not exactly back to these lows, but it's below these lows. So either way, you're looking at probably pretty consistent. So anyways, I'm only looking for shorts on the Canadian yen. And, that's that. So let's move on to Euro Aussie. So here was Euro Aussie. So let's go to the daily chart and zoom out a little bit. So see this move up here. Now you see what I want you to concentrate on is I don't have my Sorry, guys. I don't think I'm going to keep this on here, but okay. What I want you to concentrate on is really this area right here, this blue area. We'll drop down a little bit. Actually, now we're going to stay out here. And this, to me, after this move up, this is a classic ABC zigzag pattern. ABC down, almost the exact same length. Okay, from this is the ABC. Okay, and then we had this move up, and then we had this another correction down, and then that's where I got in. So obviously, ideally, it would have been great to get in at the end of the ABC, but once again, I don't always see these things. But let me get rid of this. Yeah, so we don't have to look at that. Sorry. Objects list. Don't like that. Okay. So now we'll drill down a little bit here. So I got in right here. And you can see I got out at the top of this when it kind of retested this high, and now we're going back down again. Okay, and to me, I actually looked at this move up as an ABC, but it really is not because there's no ABC here. You go out to the weekly chart, this move up definitely might be ending the trend, potentially. So, because on the weekly chart, we maybe have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and maybe we come back down. We also, if you want to do old support and resistance, we've got resistance up here at these highs right here, and that's where we went. Okay, so potentially we could be making a substantial move lower in the Euro Aussie. This is 1,625 pips on the wave one. This one's not as long, you can just tell by looking at it. So we might still be going up on this. Let's go down to the 1 hour. Okay, so on the 1 hour, we'll see what happens. This could be another ABC, and then we go back up. Okay, but you can see here, let's see what we got here. If this is wave A, 126. Wave B, this is definitely longer. 140, 136, 140. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not a very good wave 2, but this is probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about the same length. And now we're down here on the 1 hour now. Let's see how much we've retraced. Right about at the 78.6, just kind of overshot it just a tiny bit. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Euro Aussie continues up. So had this move up, we had this correction down, then we went back up. Now this looks like another potential ABC. We had this strong engulfing candle up, corrected going into the weekend. And so I'm looking for longs on the Euro Aussie. Okay. So two other ones just to show you. Aussie dollar, no. Aussie Swiss, okay, Aussie Swiss. So here's Aussie Swiss. You can see the trade short here. And again, so this would actually confirm or help to confirm the Euro Aussie long, because if you look at the Euro, at the Aussie Swiss, we've been in a clear downtrend here. Whether you look at this as a 1, 2, 3, this is now we're on the weekly chart again, folks. So remember, this is a very long time frame. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. We have to go down for 5, and on the weekly, that's a long way down. The wave 1 typically being about the same length as wave 5. That's 485 pips. So we could potentially come down, to somewhere around these lows, right in here again. Because I'll tell you what I'm doing is typically wave 1 and wave 5 are about the same length. It's not a hard fast rule, but if you're a quick and dirty Elliott wave trader, wave 1 and wave 5 typically are about the same length in an impulsive move. So that's how I kind of gauge some of my targets. So if this is 1, I just measured, then this is 3. If this is the end of the 4, then it's going to go down about the same amount, which is right about to this red line. Okay, so that's the weekly. Back to the daily. This move up, I looked at as an ABC, and then we made one move down, and we're coming up and maybe re-challenging this trend line, maybe up as former support, now acting as resistance. I would expect a little bit more potential correction, but I don't think it'll go too much further. And I would expect to look for the Aussie Swiss to continue down. And you can see where the trade I took, I got in right here, I got out right at the bottom. And here's the reason why I got out at the bottom. This was the wave 5. Okay, so I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is right where I got out. Okay, so I want to stress that. Here's the 1 to here was 30 pips. Okay, and it went back up for 2. And then when this correction went up, I got in again. Okay, well, actually, I didn't get in again, but this is what I was watching. And look at this, 28, 29 pips, almost this exact same length by about a pip or two from here to here as it was from here to here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this move up here is probably wave 2 of 3. So you got 1, 2, then you got 1, 2, then this is wave 3. Here's wave 1 of 3, wave 2 of 3, wave 3 of 3. Okay, and then there's probably a 4 or 5 in here, lost in all this action on the 1 hour. You'd have to go to a lower time frame. And then we went up for 4, down for 5. Now we've corrected up. We've kind of blown out this previous high, but I'm still thinking based on the daily chart that this is going to continue down. Now here we are on the daily. I'll bring up my MACD, but you can see the MACD. First of all, I only really use it on the daily chart, and I'm looking for only for divergence. So when we reach a new high or a new low on the daily chart, which is what we did here, you can see nothing to the right. I'll bring up the MACD and I'll just look, and you can see the MACD made a new low. Okay, on this low, it made a new low. So that means, as far as I'm concerned, the downtrend is still in place, and I'm going to look at all of this as corrective. So he went down, MACD made a new low, and now it's correcting up, and I will continue to look for shorts on the Aussie Swiss. And again, as you can see, I usually keep it compressed. I generally only look at it on the daily and only at extreme highs and lows, okay, for divergence, when I'm trying to confirm whether this is a new move to the upside or whether this whole thing is probably just a big correction. In my opinion, this is just a correction. And the fundamentals support the Aussie to continue down. So, all right, so that's it for the Aussie Swiss. I'll wait for some confirming action. I don't know if this is the continuation of the downtrend. I'm not looking to jump into this right now. We're kind of moving sideways. The Aussie Swiss is not a big pip maker. You can see it only moves on average about 55 pips a day. So it's a pretty low pip pair, but it's a good pair to trade if you're just trying out on a live account. You're trying out some patterns or whatever you're doing for trading, because there's not a lot of pips with this pair. So if you win, you don't make a lot, but if you lose, you don't lose a lot either. So kind of a pick your poison, right? So that's the Aussie Swiss. Okay, so I'm looking for shorts there. And the last one I think is Aussie Yen. Yeah. So here's Aussie Yen. This is the 1 hour chart where I took the trade. And I got in here at the end of what was this correction. And you can see I got out down here. So I missed the actual low, but I got out here on the correction. And I believe this is going down again. Now let's zoom out a little bit. Here's the daily chart. And this horizontal red line is where I looked for this last correction to come back to. And it came right back to that. But again, I don't look at a lot of the yen pairs too much, same as the Canadian yen, so I missed this first move down. But I did catch it on this correction, and it went down. Now here we are on the daily. Let's look at the MACD. We did make a new low right here. Okay, so let's bring up the MACD. And we did make a new low on the MACD. So I'm still looking for this to continue down, although I'm not as confident as I was with the Aussie Swiss. And here we are on the weekly chart. And I could see this maybe being nearing the end of this trend. If this is the weekly chart, 1, 2, 3, 4, we have this choppy wave 5. To me, this could be an ending diagonal where you've got these overlapping waves. If you're an Elliott wave trader, you know what a diagonal is. You could have a leading diagonal in the wave 1 position, or you can have an ending diagonal in the wave 5 position. And usually this is an ending pattern where once this is over, it will shoot back up. So that would favor the yen, because I think fundamentally, again, the Aussie is still weak. But we'll see how that plays out. So this is down to the 30-minute. Again, this is a nice little ABC correction. Now we're moving down again. So I would expect that we will see We did see this downtrend continue. I would expect another correction up. You may get back to this high. Maybe we see the price go back to this area, and then we see it continue down from here. So this would be this would be your worst case, right? If you're going to get in short, maybe you wait for this to retrace. I think this will go up a little bit more. Get in somewhere up here, put your stop, comfortably out of the way. I wouldn't put it right here because you get, a stop hunt poke through here and take you out. This is, smart stop loss placement. Don't put your stop right here. All right, because all you got to do is get one of these little wicks to poke through and take you out on a stop run or low liquidity, at market changeover, whatever. You don't want to do that. I put your stop probably up in this area here. And, just to adjust your risk accordingly. This is only a 30-minute chart, so this still isn't a lot of pips here. All right, so that's a whole nother topic, is stop loss placement. If you're the thing is, if you're really worried about putting your stop any higher than here because of your risk, and you're looking at how much of, pips or dollars or whatever you're risking, if you really can't sleep with it up here, then your position size is probably too big, or you're not confident with your trade, or both. Okay, so that's the honest truth. If you can't put it at least up here or up here, and say, okay, I'm going to be good in case it goes up. And you could always close it. If it gets in here and you're not comfortable, you can always close it out. You don't have to let it hit your stop. But don't put your stop here, and then this comes back here, and pokes through here, bam, you get that stop run. The big traders know where all these stops are placed. All the retail traders put their stops right here, and bam, it goes through, and then, comes back down, and you miss the boat, okay? So again, that's another whole topic for another time, okay? But I'm going to take this line off of here. Take this arrow off of here. Okay, and we'll go back out again. So remind you again on the Aussie yen, okay, that this potentially, I'm going to take this line off too, that I still think this will go down a little bit more, but I'm not sure how much further this will go, because the weekly chart is maybe suggesting that we could have a potential diagonal in place. Here we are back on the 4-hour. Again, we have this move down. I'm looking at this as maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if that's the case, this might be an ABC. Now, do we go up and is this ABC and we go up to about this area and then down, or is this the B hidden in here? So let's go down again a little bit and look at that. So, and I think I just showed you this a couple of minutes ago, ABC. So, this is why you have to sometimes look at the lower time frames, although I don't like going too low because you just get stuck in the noise of the market. But this could be, this is, let's call it 100 pips on the A. And again, A and C are usually about the same length, just like I said a little while ago, that 1 and 5 in an impulsive move are usually the same length. Well, in a corrective pattern, especially a zigzag, your A and C waves are usually about the same. So what I just say, that was about 100. This doesn't look that long, but, it doesn't always have to be. And you've got an ABC. The wave B is a nice little 3-wave move. ABC for B, that's very typical. So this is a nice little ABC pattern, this whole thing, with the wave B being its own little ABC pattern right here, okay? This is really nice. And then we've gone down, but I'll keep an eye out on this and see what happens. But in general, I'd only be looking for shorts on the Aussie yen, but we could correct a little bit more, potentially back to this area, but maybe not, before we continue down and probably make a new low, or at least come back to this low. Okay, so again, guys, Aussie yen, Aussie Swiss, looking for shorts. Aussie dollar, looking for longs, which of course that would make sense if you're looking for shorts in the Aussie dollar. In the Aussie pairs, then you'd be looking for longs in Euro Aussie, assuming that the Euro has some strength behind it, which it does. Fundamentally, the Euro has been pretty good lately, although it's been some of these pairs have been going down, but I think they're more corrective than anything else. And so that's kind of what I'm looking at. All right. And finally, Canadian yen, again, looking for shorts on the Canadian yen too. All right. Let me focus this back in again. Yeah, I'm still looking for shorts on the Canadian yen. All right, because again, remember on the Canadian yen, um, you know, we had this move up, ABC, and now we're heading down. And remember back on the weekly chart, we had a move down, then we had an ABC up, and so I think that we will continue back down. So again, looking for shorts on the Canadian yen. Okay. So, anyways, guys, that's it. Like I said, in terms of the news calendar for this coming week, British pound, these GDP. I mean, normally these are really important numbers. I would not look at them. You got Carney speaking again. Probably not a big deal. Normally these would be important. But U.S. dollar CPI is definitely important. So I'd be looking at your dollar pairs going into Thursday morning in New York action. CPI, core CPI, very important numbers with so much focus on the economy. Oops, this is last week. Sorry, guys. My bad. Let me go to this week. Okay, so sorry about that. I knew I was like seeing the numbers here. I'm like, wait a minute. Anyways, next week or this week starting tomorrow, core retail sales for the U.S. dollar. That is important. Again, a lot of focus on the economy. So these will be really important numbers for the dollar. So watch your dollar pairs for setups. The New Zealand dollar CPI, really important number. That's tomorrow, 5:45 p.m. New York time. Tough time to trade because this is usually a lot of market changeover from London to Asia. Spreads usually get really wide for a while after 5 p.m. New York time. So this is the type of thing where I'll either get in before 5 o'clock if I'm really confident, or I'll wait until after 6 for the liquidity to come back into the market. Tough time to trade, and this is very common with the New Zealand dollar. And again, I was talking earlier about British pound, but again, this is normally a really important figure, average hourly earnings. It's a labor market move. But again, all eyes are going to be focused on Brexit. There is major Brexit news this week, tomorrow and Wednesday. I'm surprised they haven't added it to the chart to this, but they probably will update this at some point. They'll put Brexit on this calendar, Forex Factory calendar. Same thing Wednesday morning. You have CPI, normally a very important number for the pound. I think it will be overshadowed by all things Brexit, so I'm not really expecting. I will not be looking to trade this. And Aussie news on Wednesday night always could be important. Employment news always important. But trading during the Asian session, be cautious that it's just a counter trend move to the greater trend. So be cautious of how this comes out. Earlier Wednesday, I have FOMC minutes. I'm not expecting they're going to see anything really earth-shattering from the FOMC. I think it'll pretty much be what we were expecting, that they'll continue to keep a tight eye on interest rates and potentially hike them 1 or 2 more times. Probably will get another hike this year. And but this always has room for volatility if there's something unexpected in those minutes. Retail sales again for the British pound. Don't really care about that this week. Euro summit. This could be big for the euro because they're going to talk about Brexit. You can see Brexit's in here, the economy, economic issues. So I would watch out for Thursday. It's going to go on all day Thursday. So if you're trading the euro on Thursday, be cautious. Okay, just saying. Bank of Japan, Kuroda. Overnight hours, I don't think that probably will do much, but unless he says something really surprising. But I would definitely watch this economic summit. I don't trade the Chinese yuan. Kuroda speaking again, and then on Friday, Canadian CPI, retail sales, very important. But watch these. Canadian yen tends to overreact on news and then turns around and goes the other way. So that's pretty typical for the Canadian dollar news. So, all right. So that's it. So the main things this week, again, Canadian news Friday, working backwards here. Euro summit on Thursday. Potentially Bank of Japan Wednesday. Aussie employment news potentially. FOMC minutes potentially. And back to Monday, Kiwi CPI and US dollar retail sales. Okay. Again, remember it's not on here, but Brexit news very critical this week, especially Monday and Wednesday. Okay. Google it, Google Brexit, and you're going to find the articles talking about what's going on this coming week. Okay. So that's it, guys. Any questions, leave them in the comment section. Appreciate you subscribing to the channel and et cetera, et cetera. Have a great night, and we'll try to do a follow-up later in the week. Thanks.